Right, so here we go. This is the test night. Now, just want to go over a few things. This is a 135mm Pentax lens on the front of the tube here. It's set at a certain distance. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's around about 33 mil from the front of the input lens, basically on the tube. Um, I made the rings, I made the other 3D printed bits to make it work properly, and essentially this is the first test there, the second evening after I got it working, or commissioned essentially. Um, this is the back garden. This is dark outside. It's not pitch black where you can't see everything. I mean, you can't see anything. This is really dark. I could not see this fence post. I could not see the fence. And when we pan around in a second, we go over to where the garage is, next door's garage. Couldn't see this either. As I say, this is about 12 foot away from me. It's in a really dark part of the garden because it's covered by trees overhead. You can see them in the background here. And you can see some ambient light coming through the trees here in a second, which I can't see. Now, as the camera pans upwards here slightly, you'll start to see the moss on the ridges of the tiles on the garage roof. It's very, very clear, and now you can see the bit that I can see. You can see the separation of the roof of that garage with the sky. I can see outlines. I can see it's not that dark, but I can't see outlines of the trees against the sky. But this part now coming up is a section of the garden where the garage is, which is completely overcovered by trees and bushes. These are the garage doors. That is a umbrella for a table. That's the dryer, which has got a cover over it. But looking to the left of this, that bit of light that you can see coming from the alleyway behind it is not visible. I cannot see that with the human eye. It's just not there. And this was one of the first things that blew me away with the test. These bits and pieces that I can physically see, I'm taking my eye away from the back of the camera to look at where that light is, and I cannot see it. I'm now panning round. I can see the difference here between the light between the sky and the bushes. I think that's grapevine, actually, that one, coming out of the greenhouse that's just above it. This is heading off towards an easterly direction, or southeasterly, and at this point you can see bits of black debris basically on the input lens. That's from where I had to drill a small 3mm bolt to hold the lens and stop it undoing itself, which was becoming a bit of an issue. Now, I'm looking up at this and I can see stars that are not in the sky. These I cannot see with my own eyes, and I'm just taking this in. I live in a Bortle 7 and a bit sky. It's not great, and the weather always seems to be really, really bad, or overcast, or cloudy. To get a clear night is only to get an hour or two of clear night. It always seems to. I don't know why. I struggle to get it. Now, I don't tend to stay up past 1, 2 o'clock to do any filming as well. Well, not yet anyway, because it's just not worth my while, generally speaking. It's always covering in. But as you can see here, there's quite a few stars in this section, and I'm panning my head off the camera screen and back up to the sky as we're doing this, because I cannot see those stars. And this is an absolute wonder for me, because this sky I don't normally see. At this point here, I've actually slowed the shutter speed down on my camera, which is a Sony DSC RX10, which is a great camera. It's a bridge camera. It's an absolutely fantastic camera. It has all this stuff that you can do for video. One of the things that I've done is change the white balance values, and I've also changed the creative style to give me this grey screen over the bright green screen I was getting before. As you can see with the extra slow shutter here, you get that lovely sci-fi effect when an airliner goes through it. Now, This is after I've played around again with a few more settings, and I've got the contrast. I think I'm running the camera lens at f5 or f6.3, and the actual telescope lens, which is the Pentax one, probably at about f4, f5 as well. The amount of light it's generating through this cascade tube is, I don't need to dial it up to max. I've got an f1.4 lens that I can run, and quite frankly, when I run that 50mm with that setting, it's too bright to make anything out with it. Maybe when I get to darker skies I'll be able to make use of it, but I generally speaking run that lens, which I've got right in front of me, at something like f2.8 or f4. I don't need to run it any brighter than that really, because the clarity is just very, very good. But I like to be zoomed in a little bit, so the 135 does it for me. I will make an adapter for the front of the telescope to take the weight. I've got a 300mm and a 400mm lens with excellent light gathering capability, and I'll give that a go. And eventually I want to run this image intensifying tube on the side of one of my large telescopes. I've got a 6-inch telescope and a 8-inch telescope, but I need to change the software and the mechanics on the EQ mount. Celestron make a well, it's a horrible motorized system on the Celestron EQ mount that I have, which is a C-Gem, and the noise it makes is just quite frankly appalling. And now that the motor drivers have gone on it, I will be upgrading it to an on-step system, which my other Vixen EQ mount has, which is just excellent. It really is excellent. So I'm looking forward to getting that running and working properly. I can't wait actually. Once we're going to be moving to Scotland in September, so it should be a lot darker skies, at very least a Bortle 4 sky, if not a Bortle 2, which is be a drive away, not very far. I've got an e-bike battery that I can run the EQ mount off of, which is more than adequate for a night's moving and filming if I need it. But I mean, look at this sky. This is just absolutely amazing to me, that I can see all of these stars through the screen of my camera, where I can't see any of them with my eyes. Literally, these stars I cannot see. There's so much sky everywhere. It's just, well, it's just not viewable. So I'm thoroughly impressed with what I've got out of it so far. I will be trying to make the internal reflections on the 3D printed parts much darker. I will probably buy some black material to flock the inside of those tubes to reduce the amount of reflections that it may or may not be picking up. I'm not sure. I'm just basing on what I've done with telescopes before. But I need the dark and light basically to separate themselves within the camera image that I'm getting, and I think I can improve it a little bit more with settings and some just fine-tuning at some stage. But overall, this is just literally the second day that I've actually filmed with it. Prior to this, I'd just been looking around the garden and panning around with it. It's not something you can handhold. I think the total weight now has got to be near the 2 kilo mark without the camera, so it's not something you can hold up to your eye and pan around easily now. So generally speaking, it sits on a tripod when I'm doing this. Was sitting on a Sackler tripod. Now this image here is the one that sticks with me tonight. This triangle in the middle of stars, there's 3 stars just above the dark section in the centre of the screen. Directly at 12 o'clock from that dark section you can see a fuzzy image of a star. That's not a star, that's a collection of billions of them. That's the Andromeda galaxy. Now I have never seen this through a telescope in my back garden. The conditions have never been good enough for me to actually see the Andromeda galaxy, and here it is in centre screen on a tiny 135mm lens. that I can actually make out in real time, not stacked image. I'm so impressed and pleased with it. So it's going to be a bit more work further on, but I'm really looking forward to it now, to getting it working properly. Thanks for your time.